Well, if you are new to my channel, if you are new to my events, my name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am your Lima City tour guide. Been guiding for a long time already in Lima. And my specialty is city tours in Lima, and especially heritage tours. I'm involved in trying to un- unveil the history of the different ethnic groups of my city, uh, with big attention in the Jewish heritage of Lima, the Afro-Peruvian heritage of Lima, the Asian heritage of Lima, and of course archaeology, which is another thing I love very much to share with all my travelers. Conducting this type of events, virtual tours, and webinars since 2020. Well, the full series is about archaeology. In today's occasion, we will be talking about CHAVIN, but the intention of this series is to be able to understand, well, the history of pre-Hispanic Peru in detail and how it, well, influences who we are nowadays, who Peruvians are nowadays. Okay, so we are going to begin now with Chavin. I would like first to double check that you are able to see everything here. So please let me know if you are having any issues already with the presentation, like seeing it. Are you able to check? Okay, to see in the images. Excellent, Annette. Thank you, thank you. So well, I will continue with this presentation. Okay, so far so good. Very well. So Chavin is a society considered to be the mother culture of Peru. It is not the oldest culture of Peru. The reason is because, well, in the recent decades, archaeologists have been able to discover a very old society, older than Chavin, known as Caral, located in the central coast of Peru. That is the first culture of this territory of the central Andes, and Caral dates back to 5,000 years ago. Chavin is a society that was developed approximately 3,000 years ago initially, and it continued existing until more or less like 300, 200 years before Common Era, before Christ. But before we go to the details about Chavin, I would like to tell you a bit about Peru and also its geography, or how well, unique is the geography of this territory. Also, the many different elevations we have in the country makes Peru a territory of lots of microclimates. We have over 30 climates, type of climates in this country, and over 80 microclimates in Peru. So the Andes is this element, geographical element that you see running from north to south in this country. It is a, sort of like the spine of South America. And the Andes cut in two sections, let's say, the country. No? So if we put the Andes as a big wall, we see in the section next to the ocean, next to the Pacific, the coast where rains very poorly. And on the other side of the country, the rainforest, the jungle, the Amazon rainforest. That territory is, of course, as its name says, is always rainy, always green, completely opposite to the coast of Peru. So Peru is the third largest country in South America and the 20th largest in the world, with a 1.2 million square kilometers size. Is really a huge territory. But the ancient societies, well, didn't know what Peru was. Peru is a modern invention. It's a very recent invention, this idea of Peru or being Peruvians. The ancient societies identify with different traditions than the ones we do nowadays. different languages, for example, religions, and so on. So, well, in this series, we're going to really be talking about societies that have very little really in common to say the modern Peruvian people, but there are elements also that we can still trace, no, in our culture nowadays, that makes us, descendants, of course, and sort of like familiar with some of their, let's say, cultural traditions. So, well, this is the map of influence of CHAVIN, and CHAVIN culture, as I was saying, also is a society that well emerged a long time ago, about 1300 years before Christ. The society of CHAVIN emerged in the portion of the central North Andes of Peru. And the expansion you see in this map is or corresponds to the influence of this society, but not in a way of domination or control, as, let's say, a warrior society would do or an empire would do. In the case of the Chavin people had an influence related with their religion. So their religion was very sophisticated and is the element that makes this society very special, very unique, and an excellent, let's say, culture to be investigated and studied by people around the world, no? Not necessarily by Peruvians. So, well, you can see that the territory that they had influence over, well, it's huge, mainly the coast of Peru and the Andes territory, but also it had influence from the jungle, and that we're going to see also in today's presentation. So the location of the capital, let's say, of this culture is the department of Ancash nowadays. Peru is divided in 24 departments. The archaeological site that is considered as the most important of this culture of these people is an ancient oracle that, well, soon we're going to also travel, let's say, with our imagination to that place named Chavin de Huántar. And well, the geography of that location is really extreme. No, it's very interesting. So one element I would like to bring also related with our previous event, related with Caral. Caral culture was a coastal society. So the birth of the civilizations in Peru, in the central Andes, starts in the coast, not in the Andes per se. It's in the coast where the first civilization or society, advanced society, appears. So later on, from the coast, these sort of like these ideas, these organizations, these stratifications also move upwards to the Andes, and that's how eventually we have the birth of the Chavin culture. So you can see here the location of this capital, this uh, religious center, religious political center. In the picture you see here on the right-hand side is the location of the archaeological site Chavin de Huántar. This place is located about 100 kilometers away from the most, let's say, visited and most touristically developed city in the department of Ancash, which is Huaraz. And Huaraz is known as the little Switzerland of Peru. So anyone who wants to come to Peru to do Andinism, to climb mountains, has to come to Huaraz and to reach the highest peaks of the country, like the Huascarán, for example, which is the highest peak in Peru. So, well, the city of Huaraz is usually the starting point for any visitor who wants to come to this place, to the archaeological site of the CHAVIN people, the capital of the CHAVIN people, and visit it. So I just want to tell you that this is still a visitable site, the one we're going to be also learning learning from today. So the history of Peru is divided in three parts. We have the ancient Peru, the viceroyalty in Peru, and the republic period, or the Peru Republic, Republican, let's say, Peru. So the period that corresponds to our series is the ancient Peru, and basically we are now in this segment of the history of the ancient Peru that is known as the formative period. The formative period, the time of the formation of the sophisticated societies, or the first sophisticated societies in our history, even though we know that, well, before the CHAVIN people, now we know that there were also other sophisticated societies, and that includes Caral. But well, this timeline was created, and these sort of like historic divisions were created. Caral was not yet discovered or studied. So well, uh, I really invite you to see my previous event about Caral if you want to understand better and more what I'm talking about. So well, the archaeological site we're going to talk about today was studied and investigated, say, in a scientific way for the first time by the father of Peruvian archaeology, Julio César Tello. Tello came to this archaeological site in the year 1919 without really knowing about, well, this society. There was no information about them. We have to keep in mind that the pre-Hispanic societies were almost not investigated until the 20th century, and the conquistadors, they just had the chance of meeting the Incas and some few other societies that existed that were contemporary to the Incas. But besides, let's say, what the orally the Incas could let's say, mention about their past, which most of the times was sort of like a combination of mythology and reality, probably more mythology than reality. So besides that information that was inscripted in chronicles, the first archaeologists of Peru were not able really to understand more. So this is a time also of experimentation in how to treat archaeological sites, in what to do with archaeological sites. So well, we have Julio César Tello. He's known as the father of Peruvian archaeology. Well, so 1919 is the starting point for this archaeological site. Maybe there is a question, so I would like to check if there is any question or anything, let's say, that you would like to ask me until this moment. And by the way, thanks for your participation. So, and I hope that you are able to see everything so far. So, okay, I see there's no question, but please let me know if everything still is right for you. Oh, Annette, don't worry. So let's go now. I think I will continue with the sharing. Gracias, gracias. Okay. Okay, so the site we are going to visit today in pictures, and that will help us understand much better the CHAVIN culture, is named CHAVIN de Huántar. Huántar is the name of the town also where the archaeological site is located. It's very close to that town. And the picture you are seeing here is the picture of the biggest temple in the archaeological site. So CHAVIN de Huántar is a complex that has several constructions, and it is made in stone, in carved stone, which also as you're going to see in a moment, has a very interesting, let's say purpose, no, in the site. So this is the way how it looks. This is a recreation of the archaeological site, um, and also this is how we think probably the site looked in its, let's say, its summit, and cultural summit. So first of all, the location of this place is not just like it was not randomly chosen. No, we are seeing basically a site that was located in a place known as Tincuy in Quechua, or a site of union, a site of connection. Um, the word Tincuy is used to, in city planning, in urban planification, is used to refer to the union of two rivers. So these two rivers, like in the case, for example, of this archaeological site, we have the river Huachexa and the river Mosna. So this is the union of these two rivers, and even the name Chavin comes from the Quechua word chaupi, which means in the middle or in between. By the way, for those who don't know what Quechua means, Quechua is a language that is still we use in Peru, is the most spoken language after Spanish or Castellano, Castilian, and is an indigenous language. Also, about the language these Chavin people used, it was probably a form of Quechua or Proto-Quechua, and a language that like existed before the Quechua that nowadays many Peruvians speak. And also, languages are always in constant evolution. No, well, the site is located in a place where itself, like geographically, sort of like shows the idea or presents the idea of duality and therefore fertility. This idea of duality is still rooted in us as Peruvians, and it is related with this almost poetic idea of the world being divided in two parts that are both necessary. They are not enemy parts. They are not fighting, or not one is evil and the other is good. These are just two sides to completely oppose, let's say, for their characteristics, parts, but they that need each other's, that need each other's to complete each other's. And this is also related with the idea of, let's say, masculinity and femininity, and the union of male and female produces life. These let's say ideas of based on the concept of fertility and duality are usually rooted in agricultural societies. In Europe, for example, agricultural societies eventually disappear because expansionist societies became more powerful, and in those societies, well, the male power is more necessary because it's more like a power for expansionism, domination. No? But in our indigenous societies in Peru, in most of them, well, we had this idea of duality and balance. Okay, so I'll try to hit the highlights only of this culture. So let's go to the way how this place is divided or distributed. We have, first of all, the old temple, which you can see there is marked in the picture. The old temple is also the place where the main god is located. This is the temple of the Lanzón. Later, we're going to talk about what is that. So that is the oldest temple and is the first temple built in this site. Its circular plaza or sunken circular plaza also was the site for public events, and seems that just few people, the chosen ones, were allowed to get inside the old temple. Next, we have the new temple, which is much bigger than the old one. By the way, the new temple didn't sort of like um, annul the old one. No, the new temple and the old temple were probably both active at some point, but seems that the new temple was built as a display of power of the CHAVIN people. Or that in that way they were showing the visitors to this site how powerful they were. So well, the new temple has also its plaza, which is right in the front, this square sunken plaza. So we know that the city that surrounded this archaeological site was not like multitudinary. There were not like thousands of people living around. Probably there were some few hundreds of people that were living around the temple permanently. So this site was more a place of pilgrimage, an oracle. And we're going to really understand better the culture of the Chavin people through, well, the investigation of this let's say, historical side and religious side. Um, so, well, a little bit more about the site and the division of the complex. The complex has many different parts. And also, we know that this place was or is cataloged still by some experts, by some Peruvian archaeologists, like Luis Lumbrera is one of the most important archaeologists of Peru. He passed away just a few years ago, but he dedicated most of his life to investigate the site. And Lumbreras mentions that this place was the Rome of the Americas. Well, and the reason why he mentioned this to be a Rome or an equivalent to Rome is because, well, this place was a place of pilgrimage, a place where people from different parts of the known world back then in the Andes, like coincide and met and exchange knowledge, and also they came here to learn about the faith of the Chavin people. So we're seeing here a image of the circular sunken plaza. So this is the smallest plaza. At some point, this plaza became also the most important of all of the plazas and all of the spaces, also public spaces in the site, and also a place of initiation for the initiation of a shamanic trip into the temple of the Chavin. So this space is perfectly circular and had on the walls of that let's say circular limit, had carvings of seems that there were priests represented. So and all of these images were sort of like looking in direction to the stairs you see there, which really conduct to the old temple, or the main temple of the site. So, well, this place was a site of preparation, probably purification, before being in front of the deity, the main deity of the Chavin. So, this site received pilgrims from different corners of the known world, as I said before. And many of the people who came here were not just coming, let's say, for curiosity, or they were not just coming to hear omens to take back to their towns. By the way, most of the people who were coming to places like this one in the old days were concerned about the climate. They were not concerned about like most of the times about, let's say, personal facts. They were concerned about how will be the climate the next season, the next rainy season, for example, because climate and the stability of the climate uh, gave guarantees to these people that, for example, they will continue having crops, they will continue having, let's say, like water in the rivers, or fish in the sea, or sometimes the contrary, So, but also there were people who were coming here to be initiated in the religion of the CHAVIN. Mm. So, in becoming, finally, they were interested in becoming priests. Mm. So in the center of this plaza, there used to be a monolith, that is known as Obelisco Tello, uh, named on behalf of the father of the Peruvian archaeology, Julio Cesar Tello. So this monolith has carved in two of the sides of this piece, this sort of like a creature that looks like a dragon, but has been identified by the experts as sort of like a crocodile or a caiman. We have caimans, by the way, in the Amazon, and there is a constant presence of animals from the jungle, Amazon, from the Amazon area, Amazonian animals. So there is a possibility that the Chavin people had also contact with groups from the Amazon, and the groups of the Amazon probably came to Chavin. They brought animals, they brought feathers, they brought products. And later we're going to talk about which products probably these groups brought here, um, with the intention of receiving as an exchange omens related with the climate. Here you can see all the drawings on both sides of the obelisk, and also the possibility that these really are representations of these caimans or crocodiles. Also, you can see also the images of these animals on one side. Mm. Um, about the activities in this plaza, that took place here in the, say, in this sunken circular plaza of Chavin, were from like the playing of music around the obelisk, as also part of these propitiatory activities that these novice were practicing to be able to finally get in front of the god. So the music that was produced here came from these trumpets that you see. This is a trumpet made from a shell that is not local from the Peruvian coast. These shells actually are quite big, and they come from a mussel that lives in warm waters. The name of this big shell is Strombus, and the Quechua name given to these trumpets made from the Strombus shell is Pututu. So the putitus were blown um, to propitiate the ceremonies, to propitiate the gods, to be present, the gods to bless the ceremony, and to share their knowledge. You can see also this priest blowing into the shell, represented in the drawing in the shell. The music was a very important part of these ceremonies, but not just the music. By the way, the music and these trumpeters, are associated with divinities from the air, with the birds. Probably there was sort of like a connection done between the sound of the trumpets and birds, right? But also another element interesting is that, well, water, the use of water, the manipulation of water also produce sounds in that place, in that site. Oh. So we are really facing a huge, a gigantic stage. Oh. Chavin the Wantar was a gigantic stage, oh, and it was everything conducted theatrically. No? So, according to the investigations of let's say the main archaeologists, you can see here the name of the person in charge of the archaeological project of Chavin de Wantar, John Rick. He postulates that water ran underground under this site with the intention of producing sounds that were equivalent to the roaring of a puma, for example, which was one of the totemic animals of these Chavin people. Also, Rick Owens was able also to map many aqueducts located under the archaeological site. And not just that, also he found out that many of these aqueducts had gates, access gates, like spaces where people could manipulate the level of the water, and therefore the sounds produced by the water. And these aqueducts were not used for like consumption of water. It was for music, for the let's say the putting scene of these ceremonies. So let me just check on here. So please keep in mind that if you have questions, you can also put them here in the chat. I will be checking questions every once in a while also. Very good. So let's continue. So well, here you can see this map created by John Rick of the aqueducts that ran under the archaeological site Chavin de Huántar. So we're talking about a place that took about 1,000 years to be finished or to basically get to its maximum development. But also the aqueducts we see here were planned to go to strategic or through or across strategic locations which are related with the public spaces of the site, but they are not in the level of the ground where we can see them. They are all underground. So you can see the two rivers, Huachexa and Mosna, here in the map, the archaeological site, and starting from right, we can see a channel that is coming from the Mosna River and directing water underneath the sunken main plaza. So then goes next to the new temple and goes under the circular sunken plaza and gets inside the old temple. So it's impossible to create all of these canals after the construction of the temples. It's impossible. It has to be planned at least when the temple is in construction process. So all of this was done as part of the planification of the creation of Chavin de Huántar. So we already know that under the sunken plaza, the circular sunken plaza, there were channels that were running. And we know that besides the music from the water and the trumpets, pututus that were being played, the people who were in this process of initiation, in this let's say, a process of cleanse before being in the presence of the god, um, they were given hallucinogenicals. Mm. The one that is represented constantly in the CHAVIN people is the uh, cactus San Pedro. San Pedro cactus is known as achuma or wachuma, and is a plant that is medicinal. In Peru, we consider it medicinal still until these days. Shamans still also use it in their different treatments. And you can see here the representation of a priest. The picture on the left is taken from a stone that still is in the archaeological site in the walls of the circular plaza. This person has fangs of puma. This person has eyes that are, or big, like wide open, probably part of the sort of like this process that comes after the consumption of this achuma or wachuma. The let's say uh, the senses being intensified also in this process. And you can see also on the other extreme, on the right hand side, the San Pedro cactus, which is a really, really pretty cactus. So here you can see a shaman from the jungle of Peru, the Amazon of Peru, and you can see also how they still utilize this plant in their medicine, in their traditional medicine. So, well, these priests, these novices that were in this process of initiation, started to experiment visions. And probably many of these visions were also very revealing, though they were related with what the God wanted them to know, or messages also that they were receiving to be shared, or answers to their many questions, to their personal questions. We know also that the priests were around them were all characterized as if they were the gods themselves, or they were the descendants of the gods. And there are images in stone that show the priests having fangs of puma or jaguar in this case, and also headdresses that are really, really amazing. So the call to the puma, the call to the feline, the call to the snake, also to the condor, to the falcon, take us to understand that, well, these people had a let's say a religion based in concepts that we still understand nowadays. The idea of the three worlds, the idea of the upper world represented by the birds, represented by the condor, by the falcon, is the world of the gods. This world, the world of us humans, where we are not the strongest entity in this world, known also as the Kai Pacha. The upper world is the Hanan Pacha in Quechua. So the Kai Pacha is the world of the pumas, the jaguars, the felines. They are the most feared animals, and they are the totems of this world. And there is also another world, the underworld. The Ukupacha is the world of the dead, is the world of the hidden, is the world, is a secret world, is the world of the snakes. So we have these totemic animals represented, and here you can see a piece, a fragment of a ceramic discovered in the corridors in Chavin de Huántar by archaeologist Lumbreras, representing the feline. So we can see here a picture of one of the many corridors in the old temple. We are now inside the old temple. The old temple has very, very thick galleries, passages, walls. Like they are, let's say, no, it's not the word thick, narrow, basically, narrow passages and thick walls. So they are all made in stone. And we know that these corridors were used by these novice to first continue in taking the medicines given by the high priests of the cult, continue also being immersed in these revelations that they were given also, facing their own fears. And there were different kinds of activities that happened here. There are fragments of ceramics, for example, and fragments and pieces of bones that are also probably related with different sacrifices. And we're talking about also animal and human, ancient sacrifices or ceremonies that happen in this place, but hasn't been done more investigations like until this moment by the archaeologists, or probably there are not enough, let's say, information left in the site for us to know a bit more. But we know for sure that there were also some type of sacrifices, including um, evidences of anthropophagia in this place. But this probably was just ritual, ceremonial anthropophagia for special events or situations, or maybe during catastrophes. So, well,